Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are doing an Ashtanga yoga class. So hop into something comfortable where you can move and let's meet on the mat. We're gonna start today in a standing pose because if you know Ashtanga, we always start with the sun salutation. So we're gonna start with sun salutation A. So wherever you're at, let's walk to the front of our mats. Okay, bring your hands to palms together, heart center. Inhale, sweep your arms up and over, and exhale, swan dive down. Now on your inhale, push so you're halfway lifted and you have a flat back. Most importantly, you want to keep a flat back. Okay, so for you, that might look like it's on your thighs, or it could be on your shins, or all the way down to your ankles if you're that warm already. So wherever you're at, exhale your nose to your knee. Inhale, sorry, I did it kind of wrong there. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, we're gonna come into a chaturanga. So it's like a half push-up. Ooh, my hair's all over the place, don't worry about it. So you're gonna come into plank pose, bend halfway, then inhale, come forward into an upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Stay here and breathe for 5 breaths. This is a good spot to check in with your body, see how that first round was feeling. Start to use the motion, the breath, to bring your body fully into the present mode. And when you finish with those 5 breaths, come to the balls of your feet, bend your knees, and step or hop onto the front of the mat. Looks like I'm going to have to put my hair up pretty soon. It's all over. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, nose to knee. Inhale, sweep your hands up and over. And exhale, hands to the heart. There we go, we did it. That was our first sun salutation, a complete round of sun salutation. You guys did excellent. So I'm gonna put my hair up real quick and then we'll get going on another 2 sets. So you could get your body nice and warmed up. Okay, this is just to manage my hair. Not necessary, but it helps. So inhale, sweep your hands up and overhead. Exhale, swan dive, nose to knee. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step or hop back to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Dropping in, using your breaths to clear your mind, clear any gunk that might be swimming around in your body. Okay, we're gonna come up onto our tippy toes, bend your knees, look between your palms, and step or hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, nose to knee. Inhale, sweep your hands up and overhead, and exhale your hands down to your heart. Take a moment, enjoy the feeling of completing the sun salutation, and let's hop into the last set for sun salutation A. Okay, so sweep your hands up and over, meeting at the top. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, step or jump back into a chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Using this downward facing dog as a place to catch your breath, as a resting pose. Yeah, let out an audible exhale that helps let go of stuff you don't need. All right, 2 more breaths. Taking big inhales and big exhales. Okay, and on this next one, challenge yourself, push yourself, come to the tops of your tippy toes, bend your knees, and jump to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, nose to knee. Inhale, sweep your hands up and overhead, bringing your hands down to your heart. Really good job, yogis. You did your first 3 rounds of Sun Salutation A. Now we're going to move on to Sun Salutation B, which is a lot more heat building. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start here. So first thing we're going to do, inhale. Put your big toes together, leaving a little space between your heels. Now inhale, bend your knees deeply, lift your hands up, look between your thumbs into your chair pose. Exhale, bring your nose to your knee. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog, and right away bring your right foot between your hands. Drop your back foot and sweep on up into a warrior 1 pose. Now exhale, back into a chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog, and right away, left hand between the hands, dropping your right foot down on the mat at a 45-degree angle, coming up for your warrior 1 in chaturanga. Upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. And again, 5 breaths. You could always restrict the back of the throat, making that kind of sound. That's called Ujjayi breath. Okay, 2 more breaths. Okay, now on your last breath, come to the tippy toes, bend your knees, and jump to the hop, jump to the hop, jump to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead, and bring your hands down to your heart. Really, really good job, yogis. That's a tough one. We're going to do 2 more sets of that Sun Salutation B. Okay. So wherever you're at, oh, I did mess up the ending. We were supposed to come into chair pose. Chair pose. Now exhale, hands to heart. Okay, let's see if I could do the next one right. So here we go, hands to heart. Now on your inhale, bend your knees, come into a chair pose. Exhale, nose to knee. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Right away, step your right foot between your hands, drop your left foot. Inhale, warrior 1. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Right away, stepping your left foot between your hands, drop your right foot. And inhale, warrior 1. Exhale, chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog, and use those 5 breaths again. Okay, now bend your knees, look between your hands, and hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, nose to knee. Now, on this inhale, we're going to bend our knees, sweep our hands up, and look up to a chair pose. Exhale, hands to heart. There we go. We just finished our full set of Sun Salutation Bs, or our second set. Doing the sequence in full. Okay, this is going to be our last our last run on the sun salutation. And by then, hopefully you feel a bit warmed up in your body. So here we go. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, nose to knee. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, halfway lift. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right foot between our hands. Drop the back foot. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. This time, left foot between the hands. Drop the right foot. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, and downhill. Exhale, downward facing dog. Stay here for 5 breaths. Now come to your tippy toes, bend your knees, and hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Now inhale, bend your knees, sweep your arms up, look up between your thumbs, and exhale, back to Samastiti. Oh, okay. Now if you're like me, I feel very warmed up now, so I'm ready to go. Hopefully you are too. Okay, now from the front of your mat, you're going to inhale and exhale, hop your feet apart so that your feet are hip width distance. Okay, now we're gonna, with a flat back, come all the way down. We're coming into a forward fold, and what I'm gonna show you is on my hands. I'm trying to get my palms next to my feet. And yeah, so I'm just gonna do that as much. If I'm here, I'm here. If I'm here, I'm here. So you're just working your hands next to your feet. And if you have more space to go, you could start to bend your elbows outward as if you're actively pulling. Stay here for 5 breaths. So you could count your breaths. So what I'm going to focus on is kind of shifting my weight forward towards the front of the mat. Here I'm exaggerating, but I'm kind of going towards the balls of my feet. And when I do that, I'm trying to imagine my hips also coming up more. I'm imagining my hamstrings elongating. And I'm relaxing my spine. I'm relaxing my back as much as I can. Okay, after five breaths, put your hands on your hip and come up with a flat back. Okay, and reset, recenter yourself. Coming back into Samastiti. Now, we're going to do almost the same thing, but this time, hop your feet apart, the same distance, and we're going to come all the way down, but this time we're going to grab with our peace fingers. We're going to grab our big toe, and from here, you're going to actively push your big toe into your fingers and use your fingers to pull yourself down. And when you do that, you're going to pull your elbows out to the side. I'll show you from this view. So my elbows are going to go towards the edges of my mat. Yeah. And I'm really trying to compress my belly onto my thighs. Stay here for 5 breaths and actively pull. Okay, and when you're finished with that, let's put our hands on our hips and come up with a flat back. Okay. All right, and let's let it go, let it slide like it never happened. Okay. And now for this one, I like to have a block ready. I'm one of the Ashtanga teachers I still like to use props. So, because I think it could give you better alignment. So if you're practicing here with me, I encourage you to use props. But if you're hardcore and anti that, that's totally fine and up to you. You could try to go without props. That's totally fine also. Okay, so now we're gonna step our right foot back about 2 feet. We want a nice wide stance. We're gonna turn our right toes towards the end of the mat. And our front foot should be at about a 90-degree parallel with the back edge of the mat. Okay, we're gonna open our arms like a T, pull your torso towards the right as much as you can, and then open it up. Use a block, if you have a block, on the outside of your foot. So it should be on your pinky toe edge of your foot. So if you're used to other yoga classes, usually you reach towards the inside of the foot. In Ashtanga, we're reaching towards the outside. And that's where the blocks come in handy, because we're focusing on keeping this leg straight and getting a nice twist. We're twisting our torso. That's more important than touching the floor. So I'm here, I have my block all the way up, and there's nothing wrong with that. It helps me find that twist. So find that and take your 5 breaths. And by the way, your heel should be interject the arch of your foot. Okay, and after 5 breaths, you're gonna pull like someone's pulling your top hand. You're gonna pull your whole body up. Okay, I'm gonna set my block aside, turn my feet to face the front, and return back to our starting pose. We could do a standing shavasana for about a breath. Okay, now we're gonna step our right foot back one more time. This time we're stepping it to be parallel with the back edge of the mat, and we're gonna face forward. Now I want my block up here on the outside, the pinky toe edge of my foot. I'm gonna make a nice wide stance, and I'm gonna be pulling my thighs, my inner thighs together energetically to keep my body stable. Okay, and I'm gonna find my triangle pose, and I'm gonna breathe here for 5 breaths. You could look down if your balance is unsteady, and look up if you're trying to challenge yourself, which with support, it should be fine. Now when you're done, you're gonna pull, your arm is gonna pull you up, and I'm gonna move my block to the side and bring my feet together to the top of the mat. Whew, and try not to fall over. Okay. Enjoy the feeling of your breath, the feeling of your practice. And now let's step our right foot back, and this time we're gonna send both feet towards this back edge of the mat. So my right foot is really forward, and my back foot is kind of at a 45-degree angle, and I'm gonna make sure I have enough space between my feet so that I'm not walking on a tightrope. Okay, the stance is not as wide as triangle, the triangle pose. Now we're gonna do the reverse or revolve triangle. So I'm gonna bring, again, the block. Usually when we do it in yoga class, it's on the inside of the foot, but this time we're gonna put it on the outside. Okay, so I want it real high because, I don't know if I could do all that. I'm gonna first reach up with my left hand to create length through the side of my body. And I'm going to come into a half forward fold with a nice flat back. And then I'm going to drop my palm down to the block. And from there, I'm pushing my hand to create a twist. And here I notice that my right hip likes to try to go forward. So I'm going to work on pulling that back. And as I create space by pulling my hip back, I could find a little space to twist. And when I'm ready, I'm going to open up that right hand to the sky. And I'm going to breathe here for 5 breaths. Okay, and when I'm done, I'm going to use the top hand once again to pull me all the way back up and untwist and step up to the front. Ooh, that's a lot of movement. Okay, and now we're going to do the second side. So once again, step the right foot back. Oh, but this time we are going to be facing this way. I'm going to do the same kind of setup. So I'm going to get my block ready, put it on the pinky toe edge of my foot, reach up, create length through my body, and I'm going to put my palm on the block, and from there I'm going to push. I'm going to push my hand into the block to create a rebound so I could create space and twist my torso away from you. And here now I'm going to focus on my hips. I'm going to try to pull back my left hip. In doing that, I could twist a little deeper. And I'm going to lift my hand up and breathe. 5 breaths. Ideally, you should also look at your hand. I did not. Oops. I'm going to use that hand to come all the way back up and bring my feet together. Yeah, I kind of forgot, to be honest, about that. So if you're wondering why I didn't do it, that's why. Okay. So those are triangle poses. Next, we're going to come into our extended side angle, the Utthita Parsva Konasana. Okay, so here we go. Step your right leg back. Move your left foot so it's parallel with the front edge of the mat. Move your back toes so that they are pointing towards the back. And now bend your right knee nice and deep. Also have a block nearby. Put it on the pinky toe edge of your foot. A little different from other yoga classes. Coming into like a warrior 2 stance first, and then we're going to come and move forward to find our extended side angle. Except from being here, I want to make a nice straight line. And actually this feels too far up, so I'm going to lower my block. And I'm going to find a good stance here. And I might even play with lowering my block again, because I know that I could always go back. And breathing for 5 breaths. Trying to rotate my torso. And what I struggle with sometimes is I like to collapse my whole body onto my leg, and you shouldn't do that. That's why we have lift sometimes, is so that you could kind of engage your core and be independent of your thigh. Okay, so let's just switch our feet. We don't need to come all the way back like I was doing. I was just being a little extra. Okay, so once again, find your warrior 2 stance. Lean forward, find a block on the outside of your foot, and instead of going straight up like triangle, you're gonna try to make a nice straight line from your foot, your right foot, all the way to your right hand. Try to lower your hips and try to be flat, like you're being pressed between 2 panes. So make sure your butt isn't sticking out. Okay, and after 5 breaths, pull yourself back up and come to the front of the mat. Oh yeah, and shake it off. Take a cleansing breath. Give it a little shaky shake. Now we're going to do the Parvrita Parsvakonasana, which is the revolved. I don't think we need blocks. You might want to keep your blocks there just in case. I'm going to move mine to the side because I don't think I use blocks on this one. But we'll find out once we get there. It does change day to day. Okay, so now step your right leg back. And now we're going to change both feet to face the back of the wall. Back of the mat. Actually, come down. First, come down to your left knee. Okay, and from here, we're going to reach our left hand up to the sky, and we're going to cross it so that we're trying to get our left shoulder onto our right knee as much as you can. And you could really use your leg as leverage, push against it, put your hands together, and push so that you get a nice deep twist. Now, if you're ready, you could come up onto the ball of the foot, and if you're really ready, you can actually drop that heel at a 45-degree angle while keeping a twist. And when you want to extend more, you try to extend your hands open and breathe, and try to tuck your right hip back, and find more twist. Okay, now when you're done with that, come back up, and we're gonna face, well, let's bring your feet together, and I'll do it so that I can face you guys so you see a different angle. So this time, step your left leg back. Okay, and actually drop we're gonna face the back of the mat and drop your right knee down on the mat. Extend your right leg up to the sky. Find length through your side body, and suck your belly in and turn so that you're trying to get your right shoulder to your left knee. You want to get as close as you can. So I push on my thigh to twist deeper. Okay, when I got a good seal, I put my hands together and push, tuck my back toes, and lift my body up. Now, like if you did on the first side, drop your heel, and keep trying to tuck this left hip back because it wants to pop out and make your butt come out. And then extend your hands if that's where you're at. And you could look up and take your 5 breaths. Okay, and when you're done with that, pull yourself up, unwind, come to the front of the mat. Ooh-wee, and breathe. That was really good. You guys are doing amazing. So here we go. We're gonna move on. Okay, now step your right leg back, turn your toes. Oh wait, where are we going? Okay, yeah, sorry, I forgot for a second. Okay, and we're gonna face the back of the mat with your right leg forward. From here, we're gonna come into our pyramid pose. So you could either put a reverse prayer grip like this, or you could grab opposite elbows like this. Or if you're really, really tight, I guess you can use a strap. But I think this should help, because even if you get to just grab your wrists, your fingers, whatever you can reach, that's okay. And if you're able to, you could come into the reverse prayer, trying to keep your entire hands together the whole time. Okay? Now from here, you're going to start to bend, lead your heart forward to the back of the mat. So you're in a nice flat line. And then slowly, keeping your back flat and keeping your hands pressed together, start to go lower and lower. And stay here for 5 breaths. Finding balance and finding an opening in your hamstring, in your shoulders. When you're finished, slowly rise back up. Twist to the front of the mat and let it all go together. Now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to step our left foot back and switch your feet so you're facing the back wall. Find your hand grip one more time. You could shake it out if you didn't get a good shake. Find your hand grip and slowly with a flat back, start to shift your body towards your toe, your front toe. And stop wherever you start to feel your back round. Then stop there. That's your stopping point. And breathe. Okay, now slowly rise back up. Release your hands and come to the front. And now we're gonna come into our tree pose. This is the last of our standing series that we're doing today. We're gonna do a tree pose, but we're doing the Ashtanga tree, so it's a little different. I like to use a strap. I encourage you to use one if you don't have a bind. So if you have a strap, you're gonna have these 2 rings on your strap, like so. So what you do, you take the bottom of the strap and weave it through both loops until you have a nice little hole. And then you split them, and on this strap now, you pull so that this strap comes through that, like so. Okay. And now I'm just gonna have this in my hand ready. One of your hands, whichever one, you'll work it out. Okay, and now slowly start to shift your weight onto your left foot. Grounding down. First, make sure you have a good foundation. You're pressing through all 4 corners of your feet. Your toes are spread wide. You're pulling up that earth steady energy and grounding down through the back of your body. And when you feel like you're really firmly rooted, start to lift your right leg, grab your foot with your left hand and put it into your hip crease. Once you get there, you want to start to push your knee down towards the ground. Ooh, I'm starting to get shaky. And I'm going to grab this little loop I created and put my foot into it. And now I'm going to reach my right hand around from behind, and I'm going to use my left foot to pull my left hand to pull my right foot up, and then I'm walking my right hand closer towards my toes, towards my feet. Once I have a really nice stable grip, I'm going to push down with my knee again and hold it here for 5 breaths. Whew. And eventually one day I'm going to be able to grab my toes with my right hand. I'm just not there today. Okay, now slowly release that foot, release your right hand. Try not to slingshot and come out very, very slowly. Okay, shake it off. We're gonna come to the second side. I'm gonna grab my strap one more time so I don't have to try to grab it once I'm already on the ground. And now I'm gonna shift my weight over to my right side, and I'm gonna firmly plant my foot into the earth, planting through all 4 corners of the feet, spreading the toes, feeling that grounding energy, feeling one with the earth, and using that pressing down to rebound up. Okay, now once I feel very firmly part of the earth, I'm gonna slowly start to lift my left leg and grab it with my right hand. Ooh, I'm not that firm. If you come out, it's okay, restart. Okay. Now I am gonna pull, do that same loopy-doopy around again. Okay, trying to reach for my left toes with my left hand and pushing down through my left knee to find length, to find alignment. Staying here for 5 breaths. Okay, now let's let that go. Shake it off. Okay. Now come to the top of the mat, face forward, inhale, sweep your hands up and over, exhale, swan dive down, inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, take your vinyasa. Once you get to a downward facing dog, I'm gonna have you drop to your knees, cross your ankles, and sit back so that you're sitting, and actually go ahead and bring your feet out in front of you. We're gonna do kind of like a reverse plank. So I'm really bad at this, so that's why I'm doing it. Hopefully you're not as bad at it. But we're gonna take our hands, put them back behind us. You're gonna point your feet forward, and then you're gonna lift your bottom up. And let's see, for me, I really have a hard time with it, but that's okay. Practice makes perfect. You wanna try to make a straight line. Ideally, your toes would touch the mat. Mine do, but that's because of my ankle flexibility. They really shouldn't, though. You're just trying to hold that core in and breathe for 5 breaths. Trying to push those hips forward. Okay, and slowly after 5 breaths, lower your hips back down, cross your ankles, and come to your knees and shoot back into a chaturanga. And inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now drop your knees again, cross your ankles behind you, and we're gonna come into Ardha Baddha Padma Paschimottanasana. That's the Sanskrit. I had to read it, but no worries. So what that all means is I'm gonna take my right foot and I'm gonna put it over my my left thigh, just like we had in tree pose. And I'm gonna take my same loop, put it around my right foot, and then I'm gonna take my right hand, swing it back around, trying to capture my toes on this side. Ooh. And how about that? I can get it, but I'm gonna still use the strap for now because I know it's coming next. Now we're gonna inhale our hands up and lay down over, trying to touch your nose to your knee, but keeping a flat back if you can. You don't want to be, your mission isn't to touch your nose to your knee. We just say that for the direction that you're going, but some of you yogis out there may already have that bind, or you could do that. So anyway, stay here for 5 breaths. You could peace toe grip, peace fingers around your big toe grip, and you could pull your arm to the side. Try to get deeper and deeper. Okay, after 5 breaths, let's let that go. Let your leg go, shake your legs out, and we're gonna switch sides, bringing your left foot into your right hip. You could even, sometimes I like to use my elbow to like really try to stick it in there. And then you could try to get that knee down. Mine doesn't want to go down, so I won't force it too much. But I'm going to take my same loop, put it around my foot, and I'm going to take my left hand around my back, and I'm going to grab on as close as I can, keeping in mind that I will be forward folding. So I'm going to come down forward, lay down over my foot, grip my toes with my fingers, and pull my elbow out to the side. Okay, now come on back up and let it go. Okay, sorry, my watch is being all funny. Okay, now we're gonna shake it out. Shake, 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 shake. And we're gonna continue with our binds, but first, cross your ankles, come back into your chaturanga, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Take your vinyasa, and then come back through. And now, we're gonna do Marichyasana. I think we're gonna do, I'm trying to think of which version we should do, in case you're wondering why I paused. Let's go ahead and do this one. So you're gonna put your left leg forward, take your right leg and cross it over. Next, you're gonna reach up and you're gonna twist across. Once again, with your twist, you're gonna try to get your left shoulder onto your right knee as much as you can. So sliding it first down, and then from here, you're gonna try to put your hand through the little loop in your leg, take your other hand and reach it around. See if you could find that bind. Ooh, I barely have it. Ha! And for now, I'm just gonna use this twist and I'm gonna enjoy it. And I'm gonna keep trying to twist as much as I can. So stay here for 5 breaths. Okay, and when you're ready, let go of your hands, let go of the bind, and then shake your legs out and switch sides. So let me see if I can put words to that a little bit better than the first time. So my right leg is now straight. I'm gonna cross my left foot. I'm gonna put it on the outside of my right knee. And now, first I'm gonna start to turn this way, so maybe I'll put my left hand back behind me while reaching my right hand up to the sky, and then trying to, you might even kind of like do a little roll around, like trying to pull your belly over your thigh so that you could get a nice grip there. And here, this side is not as flexible for me, so it's hard to get my hand through the hole. So if that's the case for you, you can use a strap. So I'm gonna use the strap by, putting it there, having it accessible, and then I'm gonna hold on to it with my right hand, and with my left hand I'm gonna pull it around, find the strap, and then make it snug as I can, and walk my hands towards each other while breathing and counting my breaths to 5. Okay, now let's get rid of that, throw that to the side, unravel your legs, shake it off. Okay, cross your legs, shoot them back. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now, bring your knees to the ground and cross your ankles, sit back, and we're gonna come into a boat pose. So the way we do boat pose here is we're gonna do 5 breaths in Navasana. So rocking back, you're gonna find a nice balance point on your tailbone and then lift your legs. You could hold from behind your knees here if that's where you're at. That's totally fine. You could be here. The next stage you're gonna do is you're gonna bring your hands to the outside. You're gonna stay here. And if that's okay, you're gonna bring your hands a little further away. And if that's still okay, well, you would extend your legs and your arms at the same time, but you don't want you want them to be in balance. So you don't want your legs to be lower than your hands. So that's real advanced. I'm not there. Instead, I'm gonna stay right here and breathe for 5 breaths. Feel the shake, feel the tremble. And then cross your legs, sit up. And now here we're gonna come into the next pose. You have 2 options. You could practice crow pose. So if you're coming into crow, what you would do is plant your hands down, bend your knees to fit into your armpits as much as you can, and then start to shift your weight forward, maybe one foot and then the other. Maybe you do a little rock. Just find that balance point, play with that. If you want to try a different pose, you're going to bring both blocks onto your mat, and you're going to put your hands on them, plant your hands, and then you're going to try to walk your feet above the blocks, or another way, put the blocks right directly under your heels, behind your heels. Bend your arms to give yourself a little table and shift your weight back until eventually you can lift your toes. So wherever you're at, work towards something and hold for 5 breaths. 4, 5. Okay, I'm gonna shift out of that. That's just what my shape looks like today. No shame in it. Okay, now take your vinyasa, and now we're gonna come into the last few poses we have. Okay, so now I'm gonna have you lay down on your back. Ooh-wee. And we're gonna come into Urdhva Dhanurasana, upward facing bow. And what that means is basically the wheel pose, or chakrasana, or I think there's another word for it. But anyway, you want your feet about hip width distance. You want to put your hands with your fingertips pointing towards your shoulders. And you're gonna press up like you're coming into a bridge pose. And then you're gonna also press up with your hands, and maybe you stop by and put your head on the mat. And maybe you keep going. I don't like to stop by, but I know it's useful for a lot of people. So wherever you're at, enter into your wheel pose. Ooh, my mat feels a little slippery today. Probably because I washed it. Okay. And stay here for 5 breaths. Just taking a nice count of what's going on in your body in this moment. Okay, and eventually come back down, lay down. You could rock back and forth. And now let's do a second round of that, because you should do 3 rounds, so maybe we'll do 3 rounds. Okay, wherever you're at, take a big inhale, and on your exhale, push up. Stay here for 5 breaths. Okay. Now come back down. Take a moment, counter stretch your wrists. And now we're going to come into one more set. And each time you come into one, see if you can find where you last left off. See if you can push through your hips more, push through your heart more. Find the sticky spots and encourage them to open up. So here we go, our last set. Ready? Go ahead, pop on into it. And stay here. Okay, and when you're done, come back down slowly, gently, down to the mat. Now I'm gonna roll my knees up to my chest and then roll up so I'm sitting. Our next one is Paschimottanasana, to counterbalance, or the counter pose. So my feet are right out in front of me, and I'm just gonna lay down over them. I'm gonna grab the sides of my feet with my hands. Whew. Okay, and now I'm gonna start to bend my elbows out to the sides. And we're holding it for 5 breaths. Okay, and when you're done with that, slowly come back up. You could take a vinyasa here if you would like. Otherwise, we're going to come into a shoulder stand. So lay down on your back. Whew. And we're going to kick our feet up and over. Once you're in shoulder stand, try not to look around. You don't want to hurt your neck. Stay for 5 breaths. And then come into Halasana, putting your feet all the way back down on the ground. And after 5 breaths, slowly roll your body back down. Push your feet, your legs back down on the mat so you're fully lying. And then start to lead with your chest up to the sky, coming into a fish pose. You're gonna be on your elbows in the crown of your head. Maybe if you get to the crown of your head, see if you could lift your arms. And if you could do that, see if you can lift your legs and stay for 5 breaths. And then slowly release everything and come into the final resting pose, Shavasana. So slowly meet me back in Sukhasana. Bring your hands to your heart. Noticing any shifts that occur during your practice, let them sink in. May you be grateful for showing up today and practicing here with me. Thank you so much for joining me today, yogis. Bring your hands to your third eye. Namaste. All right, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Please do support my channel to help it grow. Share it, save it, watch it. You could also follow me on Instagram at milam.peace, where I have content on, just general health, alternative health, how to keep your body in balance. I have an asana challenge on there, and right now I'm putting together a wellness guide. So if that's something that interests you, I'll put a link to my website to subscribe, join my mailing list, and I'll send you that free guide. So look out for that, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.